Imagine the year is 950, far up the cold fjords of Norway. Around 40,000 people prepare for another brutal winter. Not in stone castles or tall forts, but in homes carved into the land itself. These homes are built from dirt, wood, and thick grass pressed together like armor. Outside, the air freezes solid, dropping to 30 degrees below zero. Snowstorms scream for days, and the sun barely shows its face for months. This place should be deadly. And yet, inside these homes, people are warm. Warmer, in some cases, than many homes today. You are about to step inside one of these Viking shelters and feel it for yourself. So, let go of the present for a moment. You wake up, and the first thing you notice is the darkness. This is not soft or gentle darkness. It feels heavy, thick, as if it presses down on you. You blink slowly, trying to understand where you are. Cold air touches your nose and cheeks, sharp and clean. But the rest of your body is warm, very warm. You are buried under layers of animal skins and rough wool blankets, heavy and protective, likely sheep or goat. The wool scratches your chin, but you barely care. These layers are your shield, your only defense against the cold outside. Then you smell it. Smoke, earth, animals. The scent is strong but familiar, something you've learned to live with. Wood smoke clings to everything here. Beneath it is a deeper smell, warm and alive. You hear quiet movement, hooves shift on the packed dirt floor. A cow breathes slowly. A sheep makes a soft sound in the dark. The animals are inside with you. Of course they are. This is winter, Viking style. You are lying on a wooden platform raised slightly above the ground. It runs along the length of the building. This is a longhouse, and it truly is long, nearly 40 meters from end to end. Picture 4 school buses lined up in a row. The house is much narrower, only a few meters wide, giving it the shape of a massive ship pulled onto land and buried in soil and grass. Your raised bed may seem small, but it is clever. Cold air sinks. By sleeping higher, you stay in the warmer air above the floor. As your eyes adjust, shapes begin to form in the shadows. A dull orange glow flickers at the center of the building. This is the hearth, the long fire. It stretches down the middle of the house, a shallow trench lined with stone. The fire never goes out in winter. If it does, people can die. The stones hold heat through the night and slowly release it back into the room. It is not perfect warmth, but it is enough. You can now see the tall wooden posts standing in 2 long rows, holding up the heavy roof above. Then you notice the walls. There are no windows, not one. Glass is rare, valuable, and far too risky. A window is a hole. A hole lets in cold. Cold kills. So, the Vikings made a simple choice. No windows at all. Instead, the walls are thick, very thick, up to 2 meters in places. They are built from blocks of turf, cut from the earth with roots still tangled inside. Stacked tightly together, the roots lock the walls into a solid mass. Around you is the earth itself, holding in heat, holding out death. All those tiny pockets of air, meticulously trapped within the dense soil, perform the exact same function as the modern insulation lining your own home's walls. It's a marvel of simple engineering. Still air, unable to move, acts as a barrier, refusing to transfer heat. This longhouse isn't just a shelter, it's a living thermal fortress, designed from its very foundations to cling fiercely to every degree of warmth inside. while aggressively repelling the deadly grip of the cold outside. But let me tell you something nobody ever mentions about a Viking longhouse. It's asterisk, loud asterisk. Right now, you're sharing this vast enclosed space with perhaps 30 or 40 other souls. Imagine your entire extended family, the various workers, perhaps a few asterisk thralls, asterisk, the polite Viking term for those forced into service, all slumbering alongside you. The head of the household, his wife, their children, his brothers, and their families, the hired help, the not-so-voluntary help. And if you listen closely, from the back third of the building, separated only by a low wooden partition that doesn't even reach the sooty rafters, you might catch the subtle stirring of a dozen cows and twice as many sheep and goats. So, naturally, the air is thick with sounds. There's the deep rumble of someone snoring, a sudden, piercing cry from a baby who, bless its heart, couldn't care less about the inconvenient hour or the era it lives in. Babies will always be babies. A continuous murmur from the livestock, a rustle, a soft bleat, a low moo, forms a living backdrop, and beneath it all, the gentle, reassuring crackle of the coals, a tiny, persistent heartbeat from the hearth. It's a strange symphony, almost peaceful, once you surrender to its rhythm. The profound darkness won't hold forever, though. High above you, nestled into the very peak of the turf-covered roof, a small, crucial opening exists. The smoke hole. It's an ingenious design, serving a dual purpose. Not only does it act as the essential vent for the constant, curling plumes of smoke rising from the central hearth, but it's also the only asterisk source of natural light for this entire cavernous dwelling. For now, a thick wooden flap seals it shut, trapping precious warmth inside and barring the relentless weather. But soon, as the household stirs to life, someone will heave it open, and a thin, pale gray northern light will begin to bleed down into the lingering gloom, that faint, rectangular glow against the dark ceiling. That's your morning sun. Get accustomed to it. For the long months ahead, that's about as brilliant as your world is destined to become. You begin to stir, pushing yourself up slowly, mindful not to accidentally nudge your sleeping neighbor, perhaps your sister or an aunt. Personal space, you quickly learn, is a foreign concept here. Everyone lives, works, and sleeps within arm's reach, an unending tapestry of shared existence. Yet, there's a profound genius to this communal arrangement. All these bodies, clustered together in one sealed space, become an incredible, living heat source. Think about it. Human beings are essentially biological furnaces, constantly burning calories and radiating warmth. Gather 40 of us into a structure as perfectly insulated as this, and you've engineered a substantial, round-the-clock heating system, utterly free of charge. The Norse understood this intimately. It's why their longhouses were designed to accommodate entire communities, not just single families, far beyond fostering social bonds or keeping the clan tight, though that was certainly a benefit. It was a masterclass in practical thermodynamics. More bodies simply mean more heat, and more heat out here unequivocally means survival. Feel that warmth. That's us. Near the hearth, a figure stirs. It's one of the women, perhaps your mother, or maybe the thrall, tasked with the morning's cooking. She's carefully coaxing the slumbering coals back to their fiery purpose, adding small, dry pieces of wood, blowing a gentle breath across the dying embers until tiny, hungry flames begin to lick greedily upwards. the light within the longhouse deepens, shifting from gray to a rich, flickering amber. Now, you can clearly trace the lazy, ethereal curls of smoke as they drift towards the darkened rafters above. And those rafters are quite a sight. They're utterly coated in soot, years, perhaps even decades, of accumulated blackness from the continuous fire below. But here's an intriguing secret. This soot isn't merely a byproduct of primitive living. It's a vital protector. Over time, the pervasive smoke saturates the wood, effectively poisoning and killing any insects that would otherwise bore into the beams, hollowing them out and compromising the very integrity of your shelter. It's an ingenious form of preservation, much like smoking meat, but applied to architecture. This entire building is being slowly, steadily safeguarded by the very same smoke that might be making your eyes prickle just a little. You might notice some mornings that your chest feels a little tight, a slight constriction. Don't worry, it's normal. Everyone experiences it. By the refined standards of your future, the air quality within these walls is, frankly, not ideal. Before that smoke can finally escape through the small opening in the roof, it must first navigate the upper reaches of the room. Consequently, a permanent, thick layer of haze perpetually hovers above head height. You quickly learn the instinctive trick to navigating this environment. Stay low, sit rather than stand. Lie down, don't spring up too quickly. It's a compromise, a small daily discomfort, but you survive. And that, above all else, is what truly matters here. Listen closely. Outside these formidable walls, the wind rages, a relentless, hungry howl pressing its invisible weight against the thick turf, desperately seeking a weakness, a way inside, but it won't find one. This house was meticulously engineered to outwit that wind. Notice the walls aren't straight and flat. Instead, they gently curve outwards in the middle, mirroring the graceful, resilient hull of a Viking longship. It's the same masterful principle applied to land. Encourage the wind to flow around you rather than smash head-on and the entrance. You won't find a primary door foolishly placed at the building's ends, where the full force of a gale would rip through it every time it opened. Oh no. The crucial doors are always situated along the long side walls, strategically angled away from the prevailing winter gusts. But even then, it's not just a single door. It's an entire sophisticated system. You don't simply step directly into the main, warm living space. First, you enter a small, unheated vestibule, almost like an airlock on a spacecraft. You come in from the blizzard, stomp the clinging snow from your boots, and carefully seal the heavy outer door behind you. Only then, once that barrier is secure, do you unlatch the inner door and step fully into the embracing warmth. Two doors, two crucial, sequential barriers standing between you and the lethal, biting cold beyond. The icy air never gets a direct, unimpeded shot into the precious, heated interior. Clever engineering, wouldn't you say? Every single element of this remarkable building is part of a unified, brilliant system designed with one singular, life-saving purpose: to keep the heat precisely where it belongs. And speaking of that vital warmth, notice how the fire in the long central pit is truly roaring now. Bright, hungry flames dance and writhe, casting dynamic shadows across the packed earth floor and the rough wooden benches. You can already feel the comforting heat radiating outward, reaching you even here on your raised sleeping platform. A deep, resonant clink sounds as someone carefully hangs a large, heavy iron cauldron from a sturdy chain suspending it directly over the heart of the blaze. Breakfast is on its way. What rich, savory concoction do you imagine might be bubbling in that pot this morning? Been simmering, a rich, earthy scent clinging to the smoky air, likely since yesterday's last meal. Think of it as a perpetual stew, a living, breathing thing where ingredients are added as they're found, and you take only what you need to keep the pot going. A low rumble vibrates deep within you, not the gnawing pang of true hunger, no, but the eager anticipation of a warmth that promises to chase away the deep chill. Because here, in this unforgiving winter, warm food isn't just about sustenance, it's about a lifeline of heat. That initial spoon of steaming barley porridge or hearty fish stew sends a comforting wave through your body, radiating from your core. Every hot meal is a small, vital victory, another few precious hours of life earned against the encroaching cold. You swing your legs off the raised sleeping platform, a rustle of heavy furs and wool. Your bare feet hit the packed earth floor with an icy shock that shoots straight up your spine. Mistake. You quickly fumble for your shoes, slipping them on with a sigh of relief. Much better. Generations of feet have trodden this ground, hardening it like stone, yet it never truly warms, not in winter's grip. That's why life itself happens up on these platforms, or huddled close around the communal fire, where a fragile bubble of warmth exists. The household is slowly stirring to life, a symphony of awakening. Children murmur and shift in their sleep, then rouse. Somewhere, a rough cough echoes, followed by the soft whimper of a baby, quickly hushed as a mother pulls it closer, drawing its tiny form into the shared warmth of her embrace and offering a breast. Even the livestock, penned at the far end of the longhouse, are getting restless, their low rumblings and soft snorts anticipating the morning's attention. The cows need their milking. The sheep must be checked for new lambs or any trouble. Hay needs distributing, water hauled from the frozen well. Winter mornings on a Viking farm are anything but leisurely. They are a demanding ballet of necessary tasks. But there's an undercurrent beneath the morning bustle, something else entirely. As you sweep your gaze across the figures, shaking off the last vestiges of sleep, a striking observation emerges. No one looks truly miserable. Tired, yes, a little worn around the edges perhaps, but there's an undeniable current of determined energy in the air. These people move with a quiet hum of purpose, each motion deliberate and practiced. They know precisely what they're doing. They've lived this rhythm every winter for as long as anyone can remember. Their parents did it, and their parents before them. Here, survival isn't some distant goal. It is the very fabric of their routine. Outside, the impenetrable darkness won't concede for hours. This far north, deep into the heart of winter, you're lucky to glimpse 4 or 5 hours of what loosely qualifies as daylight, a brief, grayish twilight that briefly promises afternoon before fading back into the profound black. Yet, inside this smoky, crowded, animal-filled haven, life hums on, oblivious to the sun's absence. A quiet thought settles in your mind, realizing the sheer marvel of this existence. Just a few thin layers of wood, earth, and grass stand between you and temperatures that could claim an unprepared soul in a matter of hours. No electricity, no modern heating, no vast supply chains bringing food and fuel from warmer lands. Only the ancient, accumulated wisdom of generations physically woven into the very structure of these walls. Your bed of skins and wool still retains the ghost of your body heat, a comforting warmth that almost calls you back. But there's work to be done. There's always work to be done. And honestly, you find yourself grateful for it, for this unending cycle is the very mechanism of your survival. You don't conquer winter by hiding from its wrath or wishing it away. You conquer it by building a life that thrives within its stern embrace. It's about engineering ingenious solutions to problems that would instantly claim anyone who dared to underestimate them. It's about wrapping yourself in the strength of community, the predictability of routine, and the shared warmth of a collective purpose. The Vikings didn't defeat winter by fighting it. They mastered it by becoming an intrinsic part of its rhythm. And right now, in this dim, smoke-laden longhouse, filled with the soft sounds of animals and dozens of stirring relatives, you begin to grasp the profound elegance of their achievement. The fire crackles, sending dancing shadows across the turf walls. The heavy roof beams creak softly overhead, groaning under the weight of snow and earth. Somewhere, a cow lows contentedly in the dim light. Time to get up. You need to truly understand the very building you're standing in. This isn't merely a house in the way you conceive of one. It is a meticulously crafted machine, a survival engine, and every single piece of its construction, every angle, every material, was placed here for a profound reason. Come, let me show you. Walk with me toward the outer wall, just a few steps. Go ahead, reach out and place your hand on it. Feel that. It's not wood, not entirely. Yes, there's certainly timber deep within its core, but what your fingers are actually connecting with is earth, compressed, root-bound earth. They call it turf, and there's an astonishing amount of it. This wall, at its foundation, stretches almost 2 meters thick, roughly the height of a tall man lying down. Imagine 2 meters of dense dirt and tangled grass roots packed so tightly that you'd struggle to push a knife blade through it, even if you tried with all your might. The wall ascends, subtly narrowing as it reaches toward the roofline. This tapering design isn't just aesthetic, it's a stroke of genius, lending the entire structure remarkable stability, almost like a pyramid with its wider base and converging top. Physics, doing what physics inherently does. But here's the true marvel of turf. It's absolutely teeming with air. Countless tiny pockets of air, meticulously trapped between the soil particles, held firmly in place by that dense, tangled web of grass roots. And air, when it's unable to circulate, happens to be one of the finest insulators known to man. It's the same fundamental principle that keeps you warm inside that fluffy jacket you might don on a frigid day. The same reason your thick blanket brings comfort right now. Trapped air. That, my friend, is the secret. The Vikings, long before anyone ever penned down scientific treatises on thermal conductivity or R-values, intuitively grasped this profound truth. They might not have had the vocabulary, but they possessed the undeniable proof. Houses built this way simply stayed warm. Experience was their teacher. Generations of meticulous trial and error in one of the planet's most unforgiving climates. Those who constructed poorly, whose methods failed against the relentless cold, simply didn't survive to pass on their techniques. The ones who built wisely, who honored the lessons of the land, became ancestors. It was natural selection, but applied to architecture, an elegant and brutal refinement of design. Now, cast your gaze downward. Do you see that distinct line of flat, heavy stones running along the very base of the wall? That isn't mere decoration, a quaint detail added for charm. No, that is pure, unadulterated engineering. Wood, For all its strength and versatility, you can craft almost anything with it. Has one critical flaw: it rots. The moment timber comes into direct contact with damp earth, a silent clock begins to tick. Moisture seeps in, creating a welcoming home for fungi. Given enough time, even the most robust oak beam will inevitably crumble into dust. So, the Vikings devised an ingenious barrier, a sturdy belt of stones encircling the entire perimeter of the building. This simple yet brilliant addition lifted the crucial wooden frame just high enough off the ground to keep it perpetually dry. The stones, steadfast and enduring, do not rot. They don't absorb water the way earth does. They simply sit there, silently, perfectly, doing their job, keeping the wood alive, a concept so profoundly simple, yet revolutionary for its time. Someone, you realize, had to be the first to truly grasp that. But now, let your gaze drift upward, taking in the immense skeleton of this structure. See those colossal posts, running in precise parallel lines, a double backbone supporting the entire dwelling. You could probably count a dozen or more on each side in a house of this scale. Each one a magnificent tree trunk, stripped bare of its branches and bark. Its base is sunk deep, far into the cold, damp earth, providing an unshakable anchor. Most often, they're sturdy oak, though sometimes pine was used if the mighty oak was elusive. These aren't just timbers. They are the very bones of the building, bearing an incredible weight. Everything else, you see, springs from these stalwart pillars. Across them stretch the massive roof beams, forming the distinctive peaked silhouette you admire overhead. Between these main supports, smaller, hand-hewn poles and thick planks are painstakingly fitted, creating a solid, uninterrupted decking. But the ingenious layering doesn't stop there, because in this world, nothing is ever just one thing. On top of that robust decking, the first protective skin is applied: birch bark. You've surely encountered birch trees, their beautiful white bark peeling away in delicate papery sheets. But don't let its fragile appearance fool you. It's naturally waterproof, thanks to the inherent resins within its layers. The Vikings would carefully collect this bark in generous sections, then meticulously lay it across the entire roof decking, much like modern shingles. Each piece overlapped the next, forming an impenetrable cascade, ensuring that rainwater would simply flow down and off, rather than ever seeping into the warmth below. It was a natural, organic rain jacket for the whole building, a brilliant shield crafted entirely from the forest itself. And then, topping the birch bark, came the truly remarkable layer, the turf. It's the same rich, earthy material that forms the exterior walls, cut into heavy blocks of earth and grass. These were stacked 2 or even 3 layers deep, accumulating to several tons of living weight. This enormous burden is precisely why those foundational wooden posts need to be so incredibly thick and strong. They're not merely supporting a roof. They are, in essence, cradling a small hill. Yet, this hill performs a function nothing short of remarkable. Imagine a biting winter's day. As the comforting heat from the hearth rises eager to escape, it meets the underside of that substantial roof. But instead of vanishing into the frigid sky, the thick, dense layer of turf captures it, holding it fast, then reflecting it gently back down into the living space below. The entire roof transforms into an intelligent heat trap, a perfect, insulating lid on a warm pot. Every precious degree of warmth stays precisely where it belongs, circulating within. And here's the part that feels almost serendipitous. Though you know it was a keenly observed phenomenon, the grass on that turf roof doesn't perish when it's placed up there. It simply keeps growing. Its roots, sensing the deeper soil, push down, intertwining and binding. Each spring, new shoots emerge, and over time, the entire roof slowly transforms into a vibrant, living meadow. Every blade of grass becomes an anchor, each root a stitch, weaving the turf blocks more firmly together. Incredibly, the building quite literally grows stronger as it ages, its roots knitting everything into a single, resilient mass that even the fiercest wind or driving rain cannot tear apart. From the outside, especially on a sunny summer's day, a Viking longhouse might easily be mistaken for nothing more than a gently rolling, grassy hill. You could walk right past one and never even realize it's a dwelling, so completely does it blend in to the surrounding landscape. It almost appears as if the earth itself, in a moment of quiet generosity, decided to form a shelter. And in a poetic sense, it truly did. There's a certain beauty in that, isn't there? Living asterisk inside asterisk the land, rather than merely asterisk on top asterisk of it. But poetry alone won't ward off the biting cold. Physics does. And this magnificent building you're learning is a profound lesson in physics, made solid. Now, let's talk about the doors. You've already experienced that small, unheated room, that critical airlock, the vestibule you passed through just before entering this main space. But look closely at the doors themselves. Notice how remarkably low they are. An adult, like you, has to noticeably duck to pass through. This isn't an oversight, it's a deliberate, brilliant design choice. When a door opens, cold air inevitably rushes in. But cold air, being denser, sinks. It hugs the ground by making the doorway significantly shorter than a standing person. The Vikings effectively cut off the top, warmer portion of that incoming air column. A smaller opening means dramatically less cold air infiltrates. Beyond mere warmth, consider the defensive genius. If an enemy, God forbid, were to attempt to storm this place, they would be forced to bend low, presenting their head at an inconveniently perfect height for anyone waiting with a ready axe or spear on the other side. Defense and thermal efficiency elegantly combined in one cunning design. The doors themselves are crafted from thick planks of solid wood, fitted together with such astonishing precision that barely a sliver of light escapes through the seams. And unlike modern doors, they don't swing on metal hinges. Instead, each door features two robust wooden pins, one at the top and one at the bottom, which fits snugly into carved holes in the threshold and the lintel above. The door simply rotates on these wooden pivots. No metal required, nothing to rust, nothing to seize up. When that door swings shut, it closes with a satisfying thud, forming a tight, impenetrable seal against the biting wind. But this raises an obvious question, doesn't it? If there are no windows, and only one or two heavily insulated doors, how on earth does anyone see inside? How do they breathe? Look up again, directly above the hearth. See that dark, rectangular opening near the very peak of the roof. That, my friend, is the smoke hole, the asterisk Lara asterisk, as they call it. And it's far more complex than a simple opening. Up there, you'll find a sturdy wooden frame fitted with a movable cover, a kind of adjustable skylight that can be opened or closed using a long pole kept near the fire. During the day, when light and ventilation are paramount, it's opened wide. Smoke billows gracefully out, while precious daylight filters softly in. But at night, or when the weather outside turns particularly vicious and dark, it's carefully closed down, sealing in every precious bit of warmth. Managing that smoke hole is an art, a skill honed by generations. Open it too wide, and you watch your hard-won heat vanish upwards. Close it too tight, and the air becomes thick with smoke, stinging your eyes, making it difficult to breathe. The sweet spot is a delicate balance, constantly adjusted based on the wind's direction, the shifting weather conditions, and the intensity of the fire burning below. Someone in the household always has a watchful eye on it, usually an elder, whose decades of winter wisdom have taught them precisely how to read the swirling smoke and the whispers of the wind. Yet, the smoke itself isn't entirely a nuisance. Look at those rafters again, the ones blackened and glistening with soot. That dark coating isn't merely grime. It's a powerful, silent protector. Wood-boring beetles utterly despise smoke. Its acrid chemicals either kill them or drive them far away. And the constant heat and dry smoke permeating the wood make it far less hospitable for the fungi that cause insidious rot. In a remarkable twist, the building is, in essence, smoking itself, preserving its timbers, just as you might smoke meat to keep it from spoiling. You know, this painstaking process, though it demanded years of unwavering effort, truly worked. You can see it in these ancient longhouses, some of them standing resiliently for generations, their massive timbers now harder, more robust than the very day they were hewn from the forest. Here, everything serves a purpose, often many purposes at once. That persistent smoke, which might make your eyes sting, is simultaneously curing the wood, strengthening the very structure that shelters you. The low, often inconvenient doorway, it's a clever barrier against the biting wind, preventing it from stealing precious warmth. Even the lush green turf thriving on your roof is a crucial binding agent, holding the layers together. Nothing here is ever wasted. Nothing happens by chance. This is the stark reality of survival, when any misstep means certain death. There's no safety net, no immediate help, no one to call. If you make a mistake, you build it right, or you don't build at all. It's that simple, that absolute. But now, there's one more layer to this building story. A detail that seems incredibly obvious once you hear it, yet it consistently surprises most people. Picture this formidable house, rooted in the frozen earth, was conceived and perfected by shipbuilders. Just take a moment to really look at the walls around you. Notice how they don't rise perfectly straight. Instead, they gently curve outward in the middle, bowing like the sturdy hull of a seagoing vessel. This isn't some architectural flaw or a sign of age. It's entirely by design, a deliberate choice. The Vikings, masters of the waves, spent half their lives on the open sea, constructing and navigating some of the most advanced ships of their age. They intrinsically understood the intricate dance of water and wind around a curved surface. Imagine a flat wall. It stands rigid, catching the full force of a gale head-on, shuddering under the assault. Now envision a curved wall. It allows the wind to gracefully slip around its surface, deflecting the harsh energy with elegant ease. The same principle applies to water. Driving rain hitting a curved surface simply runs off, guided away. But against a flat wall, rain can pool, finding tiny cracks, slowly seeping inward to chill and dampen. The longhouse isn't merely shaped like a ship for aesthetics. It's shaped like a ship because ship shapes work. Think about it. What is a ship, truly? It's an enclosed vessel, meticulously crafted to keep its precious occupants alive in the most hostile conditions. It must fiercely protect them from the relentless weather, keep them absolutely dry, and maintain a livable temperature within its confines. The The fundamental problems are identical, whether you're battling the colossal waves of the North Sea or enduring the deep freeze on Norwegian soil. And so, the ingenious solutions simply carried over. The Vikings, with their unparalleled maritime wisdom, seamlessly transferred their deep knowledge of surviving at sea to the equally brutal challenge of surviving on land. This longhouse, in its essence, is an upside-down boat, its keel pointing defiantly at the sky, designed not to conquer ocean storms, but a different, equally formidable kind of tempest. Yes, there's a profound metaphor here somewhere about adaptation, about applying knowledge from one domain to another, about the quiet accumulation of wisdom across generations, each adding to what came before. But you don't need metaphors right now. You are standing inside the tangible result of all that ancient ingenuity, feeling the welcome warmth, utterly alive, profoundly protected by centuries of accumulated trial and error, a legacy encoded into every single beam, every stone, every block of turf. Outside, the wind has undeniably picked up. Can you hear it now? That low, mournful moan of air pressing insistently against the thick walls, searching for the slightest weakness, a way to invade. It won't find one. The builders saw to that. They thought of absolutely everything, for they had to. Someone is already calling for help with the morning chores. The livestock demand attention. The vital fire needs feeding. There's always work to be done, an endless cycle. But for just a moment longer, you linger, gazing at the curving walls, the robust roof, the smoke-blackened rafters overhead, seeing it all with fresh eyes. This isn't merely a building, it's a defiant statement, a declaration of unwavering intent. Asterisk, we will not freeze, we will not starve, we will not surrender to the encroaching dark and the bitter cold. We have built something stronger than winter itself, and we will be here when spring finally breaks through. Asterisk, the Vikings didn't just merely survive in this brutal climate, they truly won. And the undeniable proof surrounds you, etched into every carefully placed stone, every interlocking block of turf, every thick timbered post supporting the immense weight of that living roof. You are standing inside a victory. It's a quiet one, perhaps the kind that rarely makes it into the dramatic sagas, yet it might just be the most important kind of all. The kind that ensures their asterisk would be another generation to tell those sagas in the first place. Now, come on. There's work to do, and frankly, you should probably go check on those cows, because those cows, they're not just livestock, they're an integral part of this heating system. But before we delve into that, there's something else worth noticing, something subtly crucial, the precise orientation of this entire building. Nothing here is random, absolutely nothing. This longhouse runs roughly from east to west, with its main entrances deliberately situated on the southern side. This isn't because the Vikings practiced some ancient feng shui or held a mystical attachment to specific compass directions. No, it's purely practical, a testament to their profound understanding of their environment. In these harsh northern latitudes, the most vicious winter winds come screaming down from the north, a relentless, biting assault. By placing the vital entrance on the south side, the building's massive, impervious northern wall takes the full, brutal brunt of the storm. The doorway, your entry point, remains protected, shielded from the worst of the elements. And during those precious, fleeting hours of winter daylight, the southern exposure catches whatever pale, watery sunlight manages to filter through the heavy clouds. It's not much, perhaps, but it's something. Every minuscule bit of warmth, every flicker of light counts when you are locked in a desperate fight for survival. the rounded ends of the building, where the walls gracefully curve inward, face directly east and west. When the wind inevitably blasts from either of those directions, it simply hits those smooth, curved surfaces and flows around them, rather than slamming flat into a rigid facade that would relentlessly shake and stress the entire structure. It's almost as if the entire building is swimming through the relentless winter, its prow facing boldly into the storm, its stern trailing behind. Every single element meticulously streamlined for sheer survival. This building, then, is the accumulated wisdom of centuries, rendered in robust wood, enduring stone, and life-sustaining turf, and it works. Right now, as the temperature outside plunges low enough to freeze exposed skin in mere minutes, you are remarkably comfortable. Perhaps not toasty warm, like sitting by a roaring modern furnace, but undeniably comfortable. You are alive. That's the true miracle here. Not any single clever feature, but the intricate, beautiful way everything works together. The thick walls, the living roof, the unyielding stone foundation, the low doorways, the ingenious vestibule airlock, and that iconic, curved hole shape. Each element plays its vital part, each one absolutely essential. Remove any single piece, and the entire delicate system begins to fail. But get it all right. Balance every element against.
Thank you.